So in this video, we will be talking about receivable financing. So for receivable financing, there are 4 topics under this one. We have pledging, assignment, factoring, and discounting of notes receivable. But for this specific video, we will be only covering pledging, assignment, and factoring, while discounting of notes receivable will be covered in another video. Now, what is receivable financing? Receivable financing is the capability or financial flexibility of a company to generate cash from its receivables. It may be through by making it as a collateral or through sale. Now, for simplicity purposes, let's just concentrate on the concept of selling receivables or making it as a collateral. Okay, so but before we go there, there are actually two different scenarios wherein you can recognize receivables. When we say recognize receivables, it's the point wherein you can actually take the accounts receivable out of your books or write it off, or in a way by saying the recognition is the removal of an account from your book. So the recognition. Kaya diba, recognition, when we say recognition, is the inclusion of something towards your books. Now, the recognition is the opposite, so it simply means the removal of it from your records. Now, for receivables, or even for financial, for these one, it's not just for the receivables, but for the recognition of financial assets. So the first one is when the contractual rights to the cash flows from the financial asset expire. So when does this happen? So for receivables, when you sell it, so meaning once you sell your, when there is a when you have already collected it, no? So once na collect mo yung receivables, once your receivables are collected, it means that your rights to the cash flows from the financial asset has already expired through collection. The other way is another example for that is once your receivables become uncollectible, so you write them off. So by writing it off, your rights to the cash flows to the financial asset has expired. Now, the second one is the entity transfers the financial asset and the transfer qualifies for the recognition. So this is where sale comes in. So, when you sell your receivables, or for example, when you sell inventory, you transfer the right of the inventory from you as a seller towards the buyer. So same thing with receivables, an entity, you, for example, you're the seller, you will transfer your, the financial asset and the transfer qualifies for the recognition to the buyer through selling of receivables. So again, for simplicity purposes and for picturing things out in a better perspective, let's just concentrate on whether or not such receivable financing qualifies for sale. So for example, let's go first with our pledging. So pledging, also known as hypothecating of receivables or general assignment of receivables, is that scenario wherein your entire receivables for that period, for example, your entire accounts receivable, you are making that as your collateral, So you're promising, when you borrow loans or kaya notes payable ba, if you take a loan through a notes payable or through a bank loan from a bank, and then as a promise or kaya as a collateral, you tell them na I will guarantee you that all of my receivables, whatever money is collected here initially, will be paid to you. It doesn't mean that everything that I would collect from my receivables will be given to you. It simply means na whenever I can collect something from my receivables that I have pledged to you, I will pay you directly. So any collections I will have from my receivables that have been pledged will be given to you as a payment for my notes payable or for my bank loan to the bank or to the financial institution. So is it considered a sale? No. Why? Because you're just promising your receivables, all of your receivables, that's why we call it a general assignment, as a collateral to your bank loan or to your notes payable from the bank. Now, since there is no sale, do you recognize any gain or loss? No, you do not recognize any gain or loss because it is not a sale. Now, second one, assignment. So assignment is just like pledging. So unlike pledging, diba, you're assigning everything that you have, parang every receivable that you have, every account receivable that you have. So wala kay you don't identify specific receivables kay imuhang pledge as collateral. Okay? For assignment kasi, specific assignment siya. So, for example, you have 1 million of accounts receivable. And 500,000 of that comes from, is a receivable from company A and company B. So, what you're telling the bank, okay, the financial institution that you are trying to obtain the loan from is that, okay, bank, I will specifically assign my receivable from company A and company B as my collateral to my bank loan or notes payable from you. So, for assignment and pledging, what you can loan from the bank is not the entire amount, but it's just a percentage of it. Now, pledging actually, mura siya like, wala specific na pila ka percentage imong loans ay but significantly lower than assignment. When I say significantly lower than the gross amount used as a collateral. So if, for example, if pledging, you have pledged 1 million of receivables, then probably you can only loan around 500,000 or kaya 300,000, so much less. However, compared to the gross because 500,000 is only 50% of the gross amount nga gi-pledge, or kaya 300,000 is only 30% of the amount pledged. However, for assignment, guys, you can actually loan a higher percentage of the accounts receivable assigned. So, for example, kanina, for companies A, for the receivables you have from companies A and B, diba? Your total receivable is 500,000. So, with that, the bank can grant you up to like 70% o kaya 80% o kaya 90% of your total assigned receivables. So note here that your total receivable is 1 million but you only assigned 500,000. And of the 500,000, you may be given 70%, 80% or 90% of the gross amount assigned. So when you're given, for example, 80% of the amount assigned, then your loanable account or your loanable amount is actually 400,000. So why is this nga why is this nga pag what do you call this one? Pag assigned accounts mas tawag dito, mas dako kaog ka loan amount, no? It's because most of the assigned accounts are accounts that are healthy. Or from those what do you call this one? From those customers who has a great credibility or credit standing. So as compared to pledging, that the entire receivables is being promised as a collateral. So wala siya kanang what do you call this one? Wala siya sifting of accounts receivables, no? So hindi mo pinipili kung sino yung mas may magandang credit standing from your customers and then yun yung ina-assign mo to the bank as a collateral. Kasi sa pledging, lahat-lahat na eh. Wala kang pinipili, buong receivables mo mismo yung pinipledge mo. And hindi naman sa buo, pero like most of the time, it's the all. It's yung buo talaga na account receivable. But pag hindi naman, most of it. Unlike naman sa assignment, na pinipili mo talaga kung kaninong receivables yung ina-assign mo as collateral. Sa pledging, walang ganong nangyayari. But again, si assignment pa generally, sale, hindi. Kasi nga, diba, again, it's assignment. It's just making them as collateral. So so as you can see here, there are two types of assignment, notification and non-notification basis. Be it notification o kaya non-notification basis, no? Both types of assignment is not considered a sale. Therefore, in both types of assignment, there is no gain or loss recognized. Okay? Now, the difference between non-notification and notification basis for assignment is this. When you say non-notification basis, hindi mo sinasabihan yung inassign mong account na, oy, ginawa kong collateral yung account receivable mo, ha? So, sa kanya ka na magbabayad, kabangko ka na magbabayad diretso. Hindi ganon. So, hindi mo siya nino-notify, hindi mo siya sinasabihan. And this is the general case for assignment. So, pag sinabing general case, pag silent yung problem, non-notification basis. Okay? So, usually, parang, occasionally lang yung notification basis for assignment. But most of the time, or usually, na notification basis tayo pag assignment. So, ano naman yung kinaibahan ng notification basis? Sinasabihan mo yung customer mo na kung sa kaninong accounts receivable inassign mo towards the bank, no, na, oy, by the way, ginawa kong, yung receivable ko sa'yo, ginawa kong collateral sa bank. So, doon ka na magbayad sa kanya. Whatever the extra is, babalikan niya lang namin din sa akin. Hindi mo na kailangan sabihin doon sa customer mo na ibabalik naman ni banko kung ano yung sobra. Sabihan mo lang siya na, oy, by the way, doon ka na magbayad kay banko. Okay? So, now for assignment and pledging, bakit kaya sir walang gain or loss na re-recognize? Kasi whatever is the excess of the pledge o kaya ng assigned na receivable will be given back to the company. Hindi yun magiging kay bangko na. Okay? Hindi yun mapupunta sa pinag-utangan mo. Whatever is the excess will be returned to you, kaya wala siyang gain or loss. The only gain or loss na parang hindi naman siya gain or loss kasi nga nag-uukor siya in the normal course of business, which includes your allowance for doubtful accounts, o kaya yung mga write-offs, o kaya yung mga tawag nito, sales return and allowances. So wala talagang gain or loss. Okay? On the other hand naman, we have the third type naman of receivable financing that we will be covering in this video is factoring. Now, in default, so pag sinabing in default pag silent yung problem, factoring means selling of accounts receivable. Yun talaga yung tawag dito, yun talaga yung parang general meaning ng factoring is the selling of accounts receivable. So, in factoring, no, in pledging, I'm not sure kung may tawag ba sa parties, but when it comes to factoring, yung pinagbentahan mo ng accounts receivable mo, ang tawag mo doon factor. For assignment naman, ikaw yung assigner, pero yung tawag mo sa pinagbentahan mo, assignee. Tama ba ako? Yes, so assigner or borrower ka eh. Okay? So kung ikaw yung ikaw yung nag-assign, ikaw yung assigner, yung inutangan mo, yun yung ikaw yung assigner or borrower, yung pinag-utangan mo, yun yung assignee, creditor. While for factor naman, no, yung pinagbentahan mo, for factoring, yung pinagbentahan mo, siya na nagdiretso yung factor. Yung tawag sa'yo as the seller lang. Basta yung buyer factor siya. Okay? And then, so generally so unlike pag assignment na kaya pledging, walang bentang nangyayari. Okay? But for factor in default, pag silent talaga yung problem, factoring is the selling of accounts receivable. And then, parang opposed to assignment, no? Kasi pag assignment especially pag pledging, walang notification basis kang kay pledging But for assignment nga, di ba, may dalawang types, notification basis at non-notification basis. For assignment, in default, non-notification. So, hindi mo sinasabihan yung mga customer mo na ginawa kong collateral yung accounts receivable ko sa'yo. But for factoring, since bentahan nga ng accounts receivable, ang nangyayari dito, you need to notify your customer na, oy, binenta ko na yung accounts receivable ko sa'yo, doon ko na sa kanya magbayad. Okay? So, in default, factoring is sale and with notification basis. Okay? And then, for for factoring, pag silent na factoring, without guarantee at saka without recourse. Or without recourse, hindi naman tsaka. Or ngayon, without guarantee, when you say without guarantee, without recourse. Okay? So, in default, factoring is without recourse, notification basis. Okay? So, the other types naman of factoring is with guarantee or with recourse. And with guarantee o kaya with recourse, there are additional two other types. Yung full yung guarantee mo o yung full yung recourse, saka yung partial lang yung recourse. When you say full yung recourse, no, o kaya full yung guarantee, all risks and rewards are retained by the entity. So, pag ganun, na yung risk tsaka yung rewards, asa sa'yo pa na ikaw yung nagbenta, kuno, no? So, ang tawag doon, failed sale. Kasi walang sale na nangyari. Kasi nariting pa dito sa'yo yung lahat ng risk and rewards eh. So walang bentahang nangyari, walang transfer of financial asset na nangyari. Ang nangyayari lang dito sa factoring with guarantee, kaya with recourse na full yung guarantee, full yung recourse is that ginawa mo lang collateral yung accounts receivable mo. So parang in concept, parang ano lang siya parang assignment. Okay? So parang assignment siya na since sinabing factoring, assignment siya with notification basis. Okay? So pag factoring na failed sale, it's like assignment pero with notification. Okay? Now for factoring na with guarantee or with recourse, pero partial lang. So, pag sinabing partial lang, yung guarantee mo sa kanya yung guarantee mo kay factor na, okay, bibenta ko sa'yo yung, pagpalagay natin, bibenta ko sa'yo yung 500,000 na receivable ko from company A tsaka kay company B. But, yung guarantee ko sa'yo hanggang 200,000 lang. So, pag hindi ka nabayaran ng 500,000, yung guarantee ko sa'yo hanggang 200,000 lang. Pero pag nabayaran ka ng 400,000, okay, o sige, lugi ka ng 100,000, yung bayad ko sa'yo, 100,000 lang. Kasi hanggang 200,000 na default lang yung guarantee ko sa'yo. Okay? So pag yung default, sumabra ng 200,000, lugi mo na yon. Pero pag yung default, hanggang 200,000, okay, sagot ko pa yon. So yun yung factoring na partial, hindi yung buong amount, yung ginagaranti mo basta hanggang hindi siya 100%. So hanggang less than 50 o kaya more than 50 as long as hindi siya aabot ng 100,000 ng 100%. Pero pag sinabi mong with guarantee o kaya with recourse na full yung guarantee, meaning yung buong amount na inutang mo, yun yung talagang babayaran mo. Okay? Yun kung ano yung buong default, kumbaga, yun yung babayaran mo kasi ginaranti mo yung buong amount eh. Okay? So, kung factoring na without guarantee o kaya without recourse, then, of course, it's a sale. Kasi nga, factoring in default is the selling of accounts receivable. So, pag ganun, may gain or loss ba na recognize? Yes, meron. Na kung factoring naman na all risks and rewards are retained by the entity, since failed sale nga siya, so walang sale na nangyari. Since walang sale na nangyari, may loss ka ba? Again, wala. Kasi nga walang bintahang nangyari. Now, for the third type naman na parang hindi naman lahat ng risks and rewards, pero a portion of it lang, no? Yung retain mo. So, meaning, partially, may nangyaring bintahan. So, kung may gain or loss ka ba nun, partially, oo, meron din. So, since may part nga ng nabenta, may gain or loss ka dun sa nabentang part. Okay? So, for discounting of those receivables naman, no? So, with discounting of those receivables, we will be discussing them further or in detail in another video. But as an introduction, discounting of those receivable, this is just like simply yung pinag-aralan nyo sa FinMath. No, the bank discounting of notes. Yun lang yun. Okay, so pag sinabing discounting of notes receivable, pag without recourse, so wala ka kang ginarantee na pag nag-default yung notes receivable na to o kaya yung customer na to, ako yung magbabayad sa'yo. Walang ganong agreement. Ang nangyari lang, dinescant mo siya agad. So, whatever is the risk after that, kay bangko na yon. So, with that, there's a sale na nangyari. Kasi, nung didiscount mo yung notes receivable mo, it's kind of like factoring, pero yung factoring kay accounts receivable, yung discounting kay notes receivable na siya. Okay? So, pag discounting of notes receivable, diretsyahan na siya na considered as sale. So, kung sale, may gain or loss ka ba? Of course, meron. Okay? Pero, pag silent yung problem daw, in default, your discounting of notes receivable is with recourse. Pero which specific na with recourse na notes receivable? So, there are two types of notes receivable na with recourse, no? Conditional sale, tsaka secured borrowing. With conditional sale, it's like with guarantee or with recourse na factoring, pero not all of the risks and rewards are transferred. So partial siya. So partial sale siya kumbaga ng discounting ng notes receivable. So pag conditional sale, so since conditional sale siya, pero ginaguarantee mo lang siya na at a certain amount, so yun, considered ba siya na sale? Yes. By gain or loss ka ba? Yes. Kasi nga, considered sale siya. So considered sale siya, pero conditional sale upon a condition. For secured borrowing naman, it's simply parang factoring pero with full guarantee. So, ginagawa mo lang dito is parang you're just assigning your notes receivable as a collateral to your bank loan or to the loan from your bank loan or your notes payable from the bank. Or kung hindi man, pero usually kasi pag notes receivable discounting is usually with a bank. So, yun. So, pag secured borrowing, hindi siya considered na sale, so wala kang gain or loss on parang discounting of notes receivable. As for the further discussion for that, it will be again covered with another video. Now, let's go to the specific discussion with pledging, assignment, factoring, with discussion sa mga pro forma, journal entries, and an example of it. So, let's start with pledging. So, sa pledging, so ito yung mga, again, when it comes to pledging, you're generally assigning your entire receivable as a collateral to your notes payable or notes payable o kaya bank loan. So with that, the pro forma journal entries is this, to separate the pledged accounts, so no entry. Wala kang entry na parang debit, accounts receivable pledged, credit accounts receivable. Walang ganon. Kasi nga, yung buong account receivable mo naman yung ginamit mo as collateral o kaya yung pledge mo. So, no need to separate the pledge accounts from the non-pledge account kasi lahat-lahat naman yung pledge mo, di ba? Now, to record, so as you can see here, the observation, the same as if no pledging occurred. Okay, only a note disclosure is needed for you to indicate in your financial statements that your accounts receivable has been pledged as a collateral to notes payable o kaya to bank loan. So, to record the loan, so you received a cash, so debit ka ng cash, and then debit ka ng discount on notes payable, and then credit ka ng notes payable to bank. So, we only debit discount on notes payable if we record our notes payable at the gross level. Okay? So, pag gross method tayo, so, nire-record mo yung buong notes payable, pero nire-record mo rin yung discount niya. Your discount naman on your notes payable is like, this is simply like parang nag-obtain ka ng discounted note from a bank, na nag-obtain ka lang ng loan from a bank, from a notes payable from a bank, tapos they deducted the interest in advance. So, pag dideduct yung interest in advance, may discount on notes payable ka. O kaya naman, for example, your notes payable is non-interest bearing. So, ina-account mo, wala kang discount ina-account doon, but you will be recording your notes payable at its present value. So, pag short term, pwedeng i-record mo yung discount on notes kung non-interest bearing, pero in a way kasi parang hindi siya discount on notes pag non-interest bearing yung ginagamit mo eh. Pag notes payable from a bank, yung ginagamit mo talaga is yung net what do you call this one? Yung net method wherein you will be recording your notes payable at its present value. Pero note here lang na if nire-require kayo to determine the discount on the notes payable, it's just simply the difference between the pag non-interest bearing, the face value of the note less its present value. Okay? And then pag interest bearing, same lang din. Face value less its what do you call this one? Face value less its present value, that's your discount on notes payable. Pag sobra naman si discount, there is a discount on notes payable if the present value of the notes is less than its face value. And there is premium if the other thing happens. So may premium pag yung present value nung notes payable mo is mas malaki doon sa kanyang face value. Okay? So, once na mag-issue ng credit memo, so credit memo usually happens when there is a sales return. Kasi nga, di ba, usually pag what we call this one, pag may sales return, you as the seller of the goods will issue a credit memo to your customer. So it's called a credit memo because your account, the account of the customer will be credited in the books of the seller. So what will happen then is a reduction of accounts receivable. So a reduction of accounts receivable will be done by crediting accounts receivable. That's why it's called a credit memo. So pag may sales return, no, so debit ka lang ng sales return, credit ka ng accounts receivable. So the same as if no pledging occurred. So same entry pa din siya. As if like normal lang na walang pledging na nangyari. What you just simply did is that how you usually record the sales return, then record it normally. Now, if there is, or if you have recorded your accounts receivable at a net method, then you have to write back the discount if ever you have written a discount on notes receivable na, a sales discount. Okay? So you have to also write that off. So for example, to record collection, no? So for the collection of accounts receivable, assuming na gross method ka, then you have to record a sales discount if a discount is granted upon collection. And then if net method ka naman na, then no need to include sales discount in your entries. And then to record remittance, so kung ano man yung na-collect mo na pera upon collection of accounts receivable, since you have pledged your accounts receivable to the bank, so any collections will be then paid to the bank as payment of notes payable. So debit ka ng notes payable, tsaka recognize mo rin yung interest expense for the period, tsaka credit ka din ng cash kung magkano yung binayad mo sa kanya. And then to record write-off of accounts pledged, so simple lang. So, the usual thing that you do when you write off accounts receivable as if no pledge occurred, so debit ka ng allowance for bad debts, credit ka ng accounts receivable. Now, to give us a better picture on how these entries were made, let's proceed to our example. So, on October 1 of the current year, Nature Company borrowed 1 million for 1 year from Spring Bank with a stated interest rate of 12%. So, interest-bearing ba siya o hindi? Interest-bearing. Kasi nga, may stated interest of 12%. So, as a security for the loan, Nature Company hypothecated, so hypothecation, also known as pledge or pledging, hypothecated its accounts receivable amounted to 1.5 million. Spring Bank deducted the 1-year interest in a bank. So, interest-bearing siya, but the interest is deducted in advance. So, there is a bank discount. So, since there is a bank discount, how would you record this? So, magkano ba yung proceeds muna of your, what do you call this one? Of your bank loan. So, yung loan mo daw is 1 million. So, may loan ka na 1 million. And then yung interest for the entire year is simply 12% for 1 year. Kasi one year lang din naman yung loan eh. 1 million for 1 year. So, that's principal times rate times time. So, yung rate mo is 0.12. Yung time mo naman is 12 over 12. Okay, 1 over 1. Kasi nga 1 year, di ba? So, 1 over 1. Okay, so 0.12 lang din. So, your interest for the period is, or for the entire year is 1, multiplied times, 120,000. And then, diba, it's deducted in advance. Would you recognize that as expense upon recording? No. You will only record that as expense at the end of the year. But for this, upon recording of the loan, you will record it as a discount on bank loan o kaya notes payable. Okay, so, Yung entry mo dito, debit ka ng, magkano yung na-receive mo na cash. So, yung cash mo is, of course, yung proceeds. So, yung amount loan, less mo yung interest na deduct in advance. So, you only received 880,000 upon execution of the loan. So, yung additional debit mo would be discount on bank loan. So, magkano yung discount mo? 120,000. And then, may debit ka ng bank loan or loans payable, bank. So, 1 million. Okay. So, now, how would you, kasi nga, di ba, at the end of, for example, yung end of the period mo is, tawag nito, yung end of the period mo is December 31. So, as of December 31, may interest expense ka na ba? Yes, of course. Pero yung buong 120,000 ba? Hindi. Yung ano lang, kung ilang months lang yung parang dumaan. So, that's October, November, December. So, yun lang yung number of months na expire. So, remember that your 120,000 is your discount for 1 year, okay? Your interest expense for 1 year. Now, parang what you call this one, the systematic realization, okay, the systematic incurrence of your discount is what you call amortization. So, your amortization of discount is this one. So, may 120,000 ka na what do you call this one? Na parang discount for the entire year. Tas ilang months na ba yung dumaan? So, you have 3 over 12. So, 3 over 12. O kaya, 0.25 years. So, yung amortized discount would be 30,000. So, 30,000 now is your interest expense. No? So, you debit interest expense to credit discount on bank loan. The 30,000 can also be obtained as follows. You simply multiply 1 million by the number of months na nag-expire, so times 3 over 12, times the rate of 0.12, you'll still get 30,000. So your amortization of discount will be recorded by debiting, what do you call this one? Interest expense, and then you credit discount on bank loan. Now, in presenting, so this is 30,000. In presenting your discount on bank loan in your financial statements, this loans payable from a bank is a current liability because the term is just 1 year. And then the discount on bank loan will be recorded as a deduction from your loans payable bank. So that means that at the end of December of the current year, you have total loans payable amounting to 1 million less 90. Kasi nga, 120 minus 30, yung remaining discount mo is 90,000. So at this period, your loans payable total is actually at 910,000 kasi nga 1 million. Dito na lang. So your carrying amount of the loan is 1 million. 1 million. 1 million, less mo yung 120,000 less 30. Okay, so yung carrying amount ng loans payable mo is at 910,000. Okay. So, sir, ba't wala ka ng example when it comes to yung sa write-off, yung recording of remittance, yung recording of collection, yung issuance of credit memo? Kasi nga, all of those entries will be recorded as if no pledging occurred. So, whatever was your recording, as discussed in your receivables, then the same will be done for these things. Now, let's go to assignment. So, as opposed nga to assignment, as opposed to pledging assignment is simply parang identifying which of your total receivables will be assigned as collateral. Kasi nga si pledging yung lahat Yung lahat. So, yung general that's why it's called general assignment kasi yung buong receivable mong yung ginagamit mo as collateral to your bank loan o kaya notes payable from the bank or from a financial institution. While in assignment, you choose the specific nga. So a loan in assignment, loan amount is usually a percentage of the assigned receivables, and a service charge is also charged on top of the interest, unlike sa pledging. And then customers are occasionally notified to make payments to the assignee. Kasi yung sinabi ko nga kanina, pag silent yung problem, pag assignment, occasional lang yung notification. But most assignments are non-notification basis. So pag silent, hindi notify yung mga customer. Occasionally lang, but most of the assignments are non-notification. So pag silent, non-notification. So let's compare now the assignment without notification and assignment this is assignment with notification. Okay. So, performa journal entries. So, as opposed to pledging, no, kasi sa pledging, bakit pledge to? To separate assigned accounts. Sa pledging, malaking entry dito eh. Kasi nga, what's the point of making an entry? Lahat naman yung pledge mo, di ba? So, in this case naman, to separate assigned accounts. Now, to separate our assigned accounts, you simply debit accounts receivable assigned and then credit accounts receivable. So, this is on the gross amount, this will be entered at the gross amount of the receivables assigned. Okay? And then, the entry for whether or not it is with or without notification is the same. Debit accounts receivable assigned, credit ka ng accounts receivable. To record the loan naman. So, to record the loan, so, cash, debit ka ng cash, debit ka ng service charge, credit ka ng notes payable bank. Same with assignment with notification. So, as you can see here, guys, no, dito sa pledging, yung ginamit discount. Dito sa assignment naman, yung ginamit is service charge. Okay? So, usually kasi, ang ginagrant na notes payable dito is kung parang as a percentage na siya of your accounts receivable. So, hindi siya usually yung interest for notes payable o kaya bank loans with assignment is that the interest is not deducted in advance. It will just be paid later on in the period. Okay? And then, but we will still be recording what do you call this one? An expense on the very start of the of recording the loan kasi nga, the bank will be charging you a finance fee for processing your loan and your assignment of accounts receivable as collateral. Now, so for the issuance of credit memo, so unlike sa pledging, no, na your recording is the same as if no pledging occurred, but for assignment naman, instead of crediting the accounts receivable na normal account, you will be crediting the accounts receivable assigned. Okay? And then, to record collection, so for non-notification basis, since ikaw pa din yung binabayaran ni customer, so ikaw yung naka-receive ng cash. So, debit ka ng cash, debit ka ng sales discount, tapos credit ka ng accounts receivable assigned. However, on the other hand, when assignment is a with notification basis, o kaya in-inform mo yung customer mo na, uy, doon ka na magbayad kay bangko ha, kasi umutang ako, tapos in-assign ko yung accounts receivable mo as collateral to my loan. So, yung customer mo, nagbayad na siya directly kay bangko. So, when will you record this collection? No? The bank actually will give you a statement or kaya a bank statement indicating therein kung magkano yung kinolect at kung may discount ba na award. And once that statement is given to you, tsaka ka lang magre-record ng debit ka na ng notes payable bank kasi yun na yung net amount na nakolekta mo minus the sales discount. The sales discount. So yun lang yung deduction mo from your notes payable bank, tapos record ka ng sales discount, and then deduct ka ng accounts receivable assigned as a total ng sales discount tsaka ng notes payable bank. Okay? And then, To record remittance naman, no? So, pag non-notification basis, so, i-remit mo na ngayon yung nakolekta mo kay bangko. Okay? So, yung remittance mo naman kay bangko is that, depende kung magkano yung nakolekta mo, ha? So, there are instances wherein yung ibabayad ni company kay bangko is yung buong collection. So, credit ka ng cash, based on the collection, debit ka ng notes payable bank based on the collection. Tas, magbabayad pa si company ngayon ng interest, di ba? So, minsan, yung interest expense na nire-record mo dito is that, record ka ng interest expense, tas dagdag ka ng additional cash. Not cash from the collections of receivables, but it could be cash from other collections, but hindi doon sa inassigned account. But, baka may instances din, baka lang ha, kasi usually talaga, yung interest expense dito is outside to nung nakolekta mo dun sa accounts receivable. Okay? Pero pag sinabi ng problem na yung interest expense igaling din dun sa collection, then wala kang magagawa. But pag silent naman, no, hindi naman kasi binibigay yung problem na silent eh. Sinasabi dito kung magkano yung i-remit mo. So usually yung cash mo dito na credit is a total of your cash collections plus your interest expense. Yun yung total cash na i-credit mo. Okay? And then pag notification basis naman, since si bangko ngayon nangolekta, yung i-remit mo ngayon kay bangko is yung interest expense na lang na due for the period. So, debit ka ng interest expense, credit ka ng cash. Okay? And then, pag nag-write off ka naman ng accounts receivable, assigned na to, hindi na to pledge. So, write off accounts assigned. Okay, so ang kinaibahan lang dito is that what you will be crediting is not simply the accounts receivable but the specific accounts receivable assigned. So accounts receivable assigned. And then to transfer naman the remaining balance of AR assigned to unassigned, kasi nga 'di ba, as you can notice, as mentioned, the loan given to you as the parang assignor is that only a percentage of the assigned accounts receivable. So, most of the time talaga may sobra. Okay? So, pag may sobrang assigned accounts, so meaning, ibabalik mo lang siya. So, debit ka ng accounts receivable, credit ka ng accounts receivable assigned, whether or not may notification or walang notification. Now, may trick din dito guys, no? Kasi nga, pag may assigned accounts receivable, tinatanong ka din dito na, so magkano na yung allowance for doubtful accounts mo? If your allowance for doubtful accounts is based on the gross amount of receivables. So yung sinasabi dito na gross amount of receivables, kasama ba dito yung assigned accounts receivable mo or hindi? Actually guys, most of the time, pag silent yung problem, kasama din dito yung accounts receivable assigned mo. Kasi nga, di ba, yung aging of accounts receivable is based naman based naman doon sa historical data na pag ganito nakahaba yung receivables na hindi nababayaran, then ito yung usual na doubtful accounts. Pag sumabra ng ganito, ito na yung percentage of doubtful accounts. So, since hindi mo naman binenta yung accounts receivable mo, di ba? So, kasi nga hindi mo naman binenta, yung allowance for doubtful accounts mo is still based on the total of the normal accounts receivable na hindi inassign plus the accounts receivable na assigned. So, yung gross value ng receivables mo is lahat-lahat ng receivables including your accounts receivable assigned. Okay. So, since nga, di ba, yung may specific as accounts receivable ka na inassign as a collateral to the note payable from the bank o kaya to the bank loan. So, whatever is the excess of your assigned accounts receivable over the notes payable is your equity and assigned accounts. So, ito yon. So, accounts receivable assigned less notes payable bank is equity and assigned accounts. So, to have a clear picture, no, of kung paano ba talaga ginagawa yung mga entries, Then let's have an example here. So on November 1 of the current year, Red Company assigned customers accounts in the amount of 1 million to Blue Company as a security for a loan in the amount of 750,000 and a stated interest rate of 10%. Blue Company charges 5% in relation to the amount borrowed. So on November 10, Red issued a credit memo for the sales return to a customer whose account was assigned 20,000 na sales return on a credit memo. Okay. So before we go to the other information, no, let's record muna the assignment. So the recording for the assignment is ayun. So magkano nga yung inassign na accounts receivable? It's 1 million. So debit tayo ng 1 million dito. Okay, 1 million. Tapos kaya tayo ng 1 million. And again, diba? Assign accounts nga ito. Whether with or without notification, same lang naman yung entries. Okay, so 1 million, 1 million. And then, we have here to record the loan. Can we record the loan already? Yes, we can. Kasi nga, binigay na naman yung details. So, yung loan mo daw is 750,000. And then, an stated interest rate of 10%. The Blue Company 5% in relation to the amount borrowed. So, yung buong loan mo daw is 750. So, yun yung note payable bank mo, 750,000. So, note payable bank mo is 750,000. And then, sabi dito, the bank charges you 5% of the amount borrowed. So, your service charge is 5% of 750 times 0.05. So, 37,500. Same lang din dito. 5% of 750. So, the net cash that you have received is actually 750 na loan minus the 37,500. Sir, paano pag sinabing dideduct din yung parang interest in advance? Pag gano'n yung nangyari, magre-record ka din ng discount on notes payable. So, you record the notes payable at 750, pero may additional ka ditong discount on notes payable na 10% of 750. So, that's 75,000. So, your cash here will be 712,500 less ka pa ng 75,000. Yun na yung net cash na marireceive mo. Okay? Now, as you can see here, guys, in this example, the service charge was based on the notes payable. Pwede naman yun. May mga examples din na the service charge is based on the gross amount of receivables assigned. So, you have to be careful lang din kung saan ba binibase yung... Meeting? Like now na? Okay. So, sige first. So, ayun, you have to be careful lang din kung you have to be careful lang din kung saan ba binibase yung service charge. Kung sa notes payable na binarrow mo ba o kaya doon sa gross amount of receivables. Okay? So, ayun. May issuance daw ng accounts received ng sales return. So, let's just see here. So, may sales return nga, 20,000. So, yung gagawin mo lang, debit ka ng sales return ng 20,000 and then 20,000 ng accounts receivable assigned. And be it may notification or wala, the entry will be the same. Now, here sa collection na tayo parang mag-iiba. So, Red Company will continue to collect the accounts from customers and will remit payment to Blue Company. In this case, this is non-notification. Case 2, customers were notified that their accounts had been assigned. So, this is a notification basis. So, on December 30 of the current year, cash collections on the assigned accounts amounted to 436,000 net of a 3% discount. So, meaning, total collection mo daw is 436,500. So, 436,500 yung total collection. Hindi naman kasi sinabing gross of. Yung sinabi dito sa inyo, guys, is net of. So, meaning, yung gross amount of receivable is 90% of this one. So, divide mo siya ng 0.97. So, ito yung total na accounts receivable na nakolekta. So, meaning, yung discount mo is 3% of this. And ma-check mo if tama ba yung calculations mo. Kasi nga, the 97% na 436, ano daw? Ayun. Kasi nga, yung, tawag nito, yung 97 na 436 plus yung discount na 13,500, pag in-add mo yun, it will be equal to the 450,000 na total accounts receivable collected. Okay. But on the other hand, ano ba daw yung nangyari dito sa kabila, dito sa notification basis? So on December 30 of the current year, the Blue Bank notified Red Company through a bank statement signifying cash collections on the assigned accounts amounting to 436,500 net of the 3% discount. So dito naman, since kinolekta na siya si bank na mismo yung nag-collect, deduction na siya diretso dun sa payable mong 750. So, bawas ka dito ng 436,500, tapos may assist discount ng 13,500, and then 450,000. On how it was calculated, same lang naman dito sa kabila. And then, punta tayo dito sa baba. On December 31, Red Company remitted in full amount collected plus interest due on the outstanding balance of the loan. So, as you can see here, it's stated, diba, na yung buong cash collections mo, yung binayad mo talaga sa notes payable mo. Nagdagdag ka lang ng additional cash for the interest due. So, magkano ba yung interest due? So, 750,000, 10% na interest, tas 2 months ang dumaan. So, 2 months worth of interest, yung interest due mo. So, interest expense will be 750,000, multiply ka ng 2%, tsaka ng 2 months over 12. So, 2,500. And then, yung binayaran mong notes payable is yung cash collections mo lang. So, 436,500. So, ilan yung cash na natanggal sa'yo? It's 439,000. Now, on the other hand, since binayaran mo na, yung niremit mo lang is yung interest, so interest expense mo lang yung i-record mo dito at 2.5, and then cash na 2.5. Okay? And then, ano pa nangyari dito? So, on January 15, the following year, 30,000 of the asset accounts proved worthless. So, may write-off ka na nito ng accounts receivable assigned. So, simple lang kung magkano nga daw yan? 30,000. As if this is the normal recording. So, debit ka na 30,000 of allowance for bad debt, tas i-credit mo yung assigned na accounts receivable. The entry will be the same on the other side. And then, dito naman tayo sa last na entry na, no? On January 30, 400,000 of the assigned accounts were collected. So, 400,000 na yung nakolekta. Wala namang sinabi, no, kung may discount or wala. So, 400,000 yung nakolekta. So, kung ikaw yung, hindi pa dapat to eh. Okay. So, if under non-notification basis, no? So, upon collection, so record ka ng cash. Magkano daw yun? 400,000. And then, accounts receivable assigned. Receivable assigned. So, magkano to? 400,000. And then, save lang din dito. And on the other hand naman, no, since si bank na yung nagkolekta, and then on the part of the bank, may bank statement daw from Blue stating na may 400,000 of the assigned accounts na nakolekta. Okay. So, in this case, yung remaining notes payable mo is magkano na lang? Notes payable bank. Magkano na lang ba yun? Yung buong 400,000 ba yung ibabayad mo kay bangko? Malamang hindi. Kasi hindi naman 400,000 na hindi aabot sa 400,000 yung remaining balance mo. Less than 400,000 na lang. Kasi nga, 750 yung balance mo, tas nabawasan siya ng 436,500 nung bayad ka. So, remaining balance of your notes payable bank is 313,500. Now, remember na yung accounts receivable assigned mo, assigned mo, 400,000 daw yung nakolekta. Okay? So, may notes payable bank ka dito. Tapos, remember din, di ba, na may interest expense ka pa? 1 month. Kasi nga, from December 31 to January 1, may 1 month na dumaan. So, interest expense mo, interest expense. Yung interest expense mo, malamang hindi na based sa 750 kasi interest na lang yung sa natitirang balance eh. So, balance at the end of December is 313,500. Multiply mo lang ng 10% times mo ng 1/12 kasi 1 month lang yung dumaan. Okay. Ay, ba't ganito? 0.10 to. Okay. So, yung interest expense mo is 2,612.5. Tama ba? Times 1/12. Eh, ba't ito mas maliit to? Kasi, bakit 2% lang to? 2% lang ba? 10% yun, di ba? Oo nga, 10%. So, mali to. Dapat 10% to. 10%. Okay, 12.5. 12.5. Okay. Ayun. So, yung interest expense mo is 2,612.15. So, meaning, may natitira ka pang cash. HBR. May natitira ka pang cash dito. Aray ko. May natitira ka pang cash. Wait lang. Baka naman dito. Wait lang. Okay. So, may natitira ka pang cash na magkano ba to? 400 less sum nitong dalawang to. Okay. So, meaning, nung nagbigay ng bank statement si bank sa'yo, may kasama na yung cheque, yung sobra ng collection niya. So, 83,850 kasi nga, kinuha na niya yung remaining balance sa notes payable plus yung interest na for the remaining months of January. Now, on the side naman, paano naman pag ikaw yung nangolekta, no? So, may cash, accounts receivable assigned 400,000. Now, again, yung kulang mo lang na notes payable is 313,500, tsaka may interest expense ka na, 216,1250. So, total of, may total remittance sa kay bank na magkano? Paano ba ito? 316,12.5. So, check mo, no? Kasi, whether or not, with notification or without notification, same lang yung net cash na na-receive mo. So, as you can see, may 400 ka na na-receive, tapos binayad mo yung 316 kay banko, yung net cash na receive mo, 83,887.50, which is same lang din dito. Okay? So, now, since nabayaran mo na yung notes payable mo, may natitira ka pa bang accounts receivable assigned? So, here, di ba yung inassign mo is worth 1 million. Tapos, may nakolektang aside from ayun, may nakolektang di ba? Wala pa. Okay. May sales return na 20. May nakolektang 450. Tsaka may nakolektang 400. So, meaning, may remaining assigned accounts ka pa na 130,000. Nakakabayad ka na in full doon sa utang mo. So, yung 130 na yon, ibabalik mo rin ngayon doon sa accounts receivable na wala na siyang dash assign. Okay? So, same man din yung mangyayari dito sa with notification basis. So, ayun. Wait lang. Alt HBV na lang to. Alt HBV. Ayun. So, meaning, whether or not dito sa assignment, no, with notification or kaya without notification, mag-iiba ka lang talaga dun sa remittance at saka sa collection. At saka dun sa mga tawag nito, dun sa, I think even sa sales return, okay. Sige, I will be discussing factoring in another video na lang, no? So, that's it muna for this video kasi may meeting pa kami. Okay, so yun. Thank you for listening.